All right, viewer, we are grateful to have you back online. Thank you so much for joining Lighter TV. Lighter TV comes to you from the great land of Koboko, and we are privileged to be with you. This is the Words of Wisdom program. I am Apostle Michael Maliamungu. I serve with Panorama Ministries right here in Koboko. And today we are going to learn something very, very amazing, something very powerful. And I believe it's going to change our lives. We are going to talk about the power of effective correction. We are going to be discussing what correction does and what kind of correction makes it effective to administer the right kind of help we intend to bring to people. So, as we prepare to receive the message, I want you to, as usual, do the things we always do. Kindly notify your friend, quickly rush out to your notification system and let a friend know, let a brother know, a colleague know that Lighter TV is on it again, ready to give us something great, ready to give us a great lesson. And please subscribe in case you have not subscribed. Kindly subscribe so that nothing good will ever miss you out. So, are you able to do that quickly? Kindly do so. And as you do that, you will not be left out anytime something good happens. We are going to learn a great thing today. A great message which I believe will transform lives. A message which I believe will not leave us the same. A message which I believe will transform us deeply. We are going to talk about the power of effective correction. Most of the times, life brings us to a place where we have to administer wisdom, correction, guidance. We have to attempt to put someone right. It could be a friend, it could be a colleague at church, it could be a ministry member, it could be a relative, it could be your own child, it could be your husband, it could be your wife, it could be someone so dear to you. And by the systems of life and by the virtue of life, God gives you an opportunity and a privilege and say that I want you to bring correction. I want you to bring a body of knowledge that can administer correction to such a person. And we have discovered practically that many times or most of the times, after giving out correction, after trying to put someone right, instead of seeing success in many aspects, we see the opposite. In fact, there are people, as you try to bring correction, you end up losing the person. That may be the last time you ever have the person as a friend, as a relative, and as a church member. That could be the last moment where you will ever connect, when you were attempting to bring correction. There are moments we have attempted to bring correction and guidance to someone, only to realize that that will become the end of the road. That will become the last moment we will ever get to be in one accord. Now, while we do know most of the times that when you ask people, why does that happen? Most of us will always say, this person does not want to take correction. The person I'm trying to correct, we are not picking any positive response. This friend, this neighbor, I'm attempting to correct this person, but the correction is not working. But in today's class and in today's lesson of the Words of Wisdom, we are going to discover that while it is true, we are not deleting that. While it is true that certain corrections hit a hard rock because the people we attempt to correct are not necessarily willing to be corrected, in another aspect of it, there are roles to be played by the person who is bringing the correction. So today's message focuses on letting us know how do we administer correction in a way that it doesn't get a resistance. How do we bring a body of knowledge? How do we administer guidance to someone in such a way that at the end of it all, we win the person. At the end of it all, we have the person. At the end of it all, the correction has worked. At the end of it all, the relationship is not broken. At the end of it all, there is something that has happened positive. How can that be done? While we do know that many times we always say it is the people being corrected who do not want to take correction, Today, in the words of wisdom, I want you to know that wisdom has something to offer to us. That it is not always the receiver who is the problem. Sometimes the deliverer could also be having issues to be worked on or to undergo panel beating in. So, what are those things? How can we correctly administer effective correction? How can we bring guidance? How can we panel beat someone's life and destiny in such a way that regardless of the mistakes and the errors and the faults and the weaknesses, we are able to win the person, have the issue fixed, have the relationship, and we are able to let the person know that we are bringing correction and that correction works. So today I am going to bring to you several points. The list is long. We are going to go through them one by one. The things we should do to be able to administer correction rightly. All the things a person administering guidance and correction and wisdom should have in mind while attempting to put someone else's life right. And if we get this rightly, the people around us, whether at the church or the family level or in the workplace, wherever they are, people that may need to find a kind of alignment through you, with these skills in your fingertips, success will easily be attained and reached. So what are the things we should do, or how can we administer correction effectively? Number one, we should administer correction after building a valid relationship. Or we should attempt to build a valid relationship before attempting to correct a person. This is a very deep point. Let me explain it carefully. And it happens to be the first point. We need to build a relationship. For example, someone next to you is not walking right. Someone next to you is not doing okay. And you feel a responsibility to administer correction, guidance, and wisdom. And there is no relationship between you and this person, no bonding, no connection, nothing in common. And you come all heavy and storm on this person to attempt to correct it. You know what you will get? The best you will get will be resistance. You're going to get the resistance, the person is going to close up. Why? Because there is no relationship. But when we create a relationship, when we try to create a bonding, when we intentionally come out to try to network a blend and a bond, to attempt to give access to that person's heart and mind, then we are on a good road to reach that person. Because if we do not do that, we are not going to have a support system. The issue the person is going through is already a weight on the person's soul. The person himself or herself is already aware something is not right in his life or her life. For that person to listen to you, that person is not going to just listen to you without a support system. And one of the best support systems to administer correction is a relationship. You will need to build a bridge, build a bonding, build a connection. Try to intentionally come close. In Acts chapter 18, we are told there is a man called Apollos who was preaching the gospel and he was thundering, preaching the gospel so great. But he had a few areas in his preaching and doctrine that needed alignment. A couple called Priscilla and Aquila decided to take him home. That is a relationship. They listened to Apollos preach. They listened to the great things he spoke. And they noticed areas that needed correction and alignment. They did not storm on Apollos just right there in the crowd. Hey, that's great message, but there are mistakes here. They took Apollos home, welcomed him home. That is a relationship. That is a bonding. And then they explained to him the things he needed to get better. And later on, when Apollos went out, he was a blow. He was a hot cake. He was able to do great things. Ladies and gentlemen, the first wisdom I want to share with you today in attempting to correct people in such a way that we do not lose them, in such a way that we do not find a resistance, in such a way that we attain the goal of the correction is, please always make sure you first create a relationship. Let me say something which may sound so deep to you. There are issues in people's lives. If you are to attempt to fix them, you probably need to build 2 years of a relationship before you touch that issue. Yes, you've heard me right. There could be something a friend is struggling with, a colleague is struggling with, a workmate is struggling with, a church member is struggling with. If you just fall like a parachute, you fall like a bunker buster. You fall from anywhere in the air and you want to hit the person, boom, 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 boom. Hear me, I'm here to correct you. You are going to hit a resistance. But if you give yourself 3 months of relationship, 6 months of relationship, 1 year of relationship, a period of time where you know you are tactically driving at something, with the sponsorship of the support system of that relationship and friendship, by the time you open up and address matters in the life of this person, the person will open the doors and pull off all the resistances. And you will have access to his soul or to her soul, and you will be able to address matters correctly. When you come as a hot air and come at the speed of light and as a thunder, that person is going to close up. Somebody was sharing with me something, and this was a woman, and she was wondering why the husband is not changing. So asking a few questions, I realized, she was trying to change the husband. She was truly trying to fix certain things in the husband's life. But she was always falling on the husband like a bomb. You will lose him. That man is going to close up, and you will never enter into his space again. Yes, you're his wife. But because you're falling on him like a bomb, you're killing a relationship and attempting to fix an issue and correct it, you will never enter into his space. He will close up and you will never access the reality in him. So what do? First of all, always make sure there is a relationship. Is there someone God has given you to attempt to correct and put right and to align in life, and you have been struggling with it? Wisdom number 1, build a relationship which will become a support system. It will become a bridge. It will break down the defense systems of that person. And eventually you will access this person's inner being, and you can talk things that matter. And chances are very high that person will listen to you. Number 2, in attempting to administer effective correction to someone who is struggling and we need to put the person right, number 2, we need to make sure that the intention of the correction is right. This one is, again, heavy. Yes, you have a burden to correct the person. Remember I said at the start, most of the times we have attempted to correct people and they do not take the advice. What has always been our conclusion? We always say they don't want to take advice. My children don't want to take advice. My wife doesn't want to take advice. My husband doesn't want to take advice. My workmates don't want to take advice. Most of the times, that is what we say. But wisdom is giving us another version, and this version is powerful. The second thing we must know to administer effective correction is, please be aware of what your intentions are. What are your intentions? The correct intention must be the burden for restoration. It must be the burden to fix things. It must be the burden to get the person back on road. If your intentions are to humiliate the person, to frustrate the person, to make a public mockery of the person, if your intentions are to bring destruction, sometimes what we call correction is an attempt to humiliate another person. Yes, the person is indeed on the wrong. Yes, the person has done certain things that are not right. But going an extra mile to humiliate the person and embarrass the person and try to make the person look much less than what the person already is not going to give us a chance to become candidates of correction in that person's life. In fact, we will become enemies. So the second thing I want you to do is that the burden, the goal of correction must be restoration. You are attempting to fix things in the life of your wife. You are attempting to fix things in the life of your husband. You are attempting to fix things in the life of your neighbor and your relative. If the burden for restoration is not your goal, you are going to come using approaches that will make things worse instead of getting things better. So, wisdom number 2, we should always take into heart, is that the goal must be restoration. In Galatians chapter 6, verse 1, the Bible says this word that we should be able to read. Brothers, if someone is caught in a sin, you who are spiritual should restore him. Mark that word. Should restore him gently. But watch yourself, or you also may be tempted. If someone has gone into error, someone has lost the path, someone has missed the step at work, someone has missed the step in something, there must be the aspect of seeking restoration as the primary goal. If the key goal, if the key burden, if the key intention is not restoration, you're going to see that as an opportunity to hit at that person. You're going to see that as an opportunity to make you like look better in the eyes of that person and make that person look worse in your eyes. And sometimes it may just be another room to humiliate the person, and that will not allow you to access that person again. And those are some of the things that have turned friends into enemies. Because after you have done that, you were once friends, you were together, your husband and wife, you are your workmates, your colleagues at church, you are ministry mates, and now you are attempting to fix things, but the person you are attempting to correct discerns that your intention is not correction. Your intention is to humiliate him or her. That person will avoid you for life, and you will never enter into that person's space anymore again. The third thing I want you to take into consideration while attempting to bring effective correction, administering correction effectively to those who are struggling and are missing the path, is try your best to do it in privacy and in confidentiality. You see, the points I'm bringing, if there is anybody who is in error, if there's anybody who has lost the mark and is looking for somebody to correct him or correct her, if that kind of person comes across this message, believe me, that person is going to appreciate this and will be longing for you and waiting for you and will be just saying and thinking, oh God, bring somebody my way who understands these points. You see, as you're attempting to fix things in someone's life, as much as it can be possible, try to do things in privacy and in confidentiality. Matthew chapter 18, verse 15 says something I want us to read and then explain. Matthew 18, 15, it says, moreover, let me read this version. If your brother sins against you, go and show him his fault. Just between the two of you. If he listens to you, you have won your brother over. I know these are difficult things, but someone has lost the path, someone has gone another way. The first thing is, according to the Bible, try to make an effort, get this person down, and have an opportunity to sit down and say, brother, I think you're missing the mark in A, B, C, D. I don't want us to do this publicly, but this is me and you. Sit in a room somewhere. Go and sit in a hotel somewhere. Go somewhere in a nice place. Give yourself space to talk and say, bro, I think ABCD is not going right. I think it should be going this way, that way, that way. That privacy will bring honor, it will bring credibility, and it will create room for this person to understand that I think you are approaching him or approaching her with a desire of making things right. So try your best to be private. Try your best to be confidential. Now, for example, if you help someone today, and tomorrow you are all in the air, you want the whole world to know what you have done in this person's life. You managed to, somebody was struggling, somebody had a challenge. Thank God, God used you to fix the matter. Tomorrow you're on social media. You're posting on Facebook the moment that person sees that post, you are enemies. You're no longer friends. The person will be like, what? I thought she came to help me. Now what we handled in privacy is in the air. This is a destroyer in my life. This one is not a friend. From that day onwards, that person will consider you an enemy in capital letters. Privacy is very important. And this probably could be among the reasons why you tried to solve certain things in some people's lives and it didn't work out. Privacy is very important. There are many scriptures I've written here. Proverbs 11 verse 13. Maybe I can just read a few. I may not read all of them. In Proverbs chapter 11 verse 13, the Bible says, a gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy man keeps a secret. Gossip betrays confidence. Now, someone is indeed struggling. Somebody has a serious problem. I have people who come to me almost every day of my life. I meet people who come and talk to me. And some of the things people talk are too sensitive that you rather die with them than speak them anywhere, unless with the person's permission. So when you are attempting to fix issues in people's lives, then you have done a great job. You have fixed the matter. You have talked. You have brought correction. You have brought guidance. And the person was like, oh, finally somebody has come to my help. Then the next day, the person hears what you talked, just two of you. The issue is blazing anywhere and it's going everywhere. It's on media, and the person is going to feel broken. He's going to feel betrayed. The person is going to have no confidence in you and in your correction for the rest of his or her life. So those are some of the things that make correction not to penetrate through. And sometimes we end up thinking, this person doesn't want to take correction. Sometimes this could be the challenges. The fourth point, I told you the points are many today, but I will review them. The fourth point is, try to do a background search of why that is happening. Somebody is going astray. Somebody is missing the mark. And all of a sudden, you notice things are not going well. This person used to be a good member of church, coming to church timely, doing things timely, and doing things rightly. This person used to be a great employee in your work, always arriving in time, having no argument with a colleague at work, always doing what the boss requires. But then all of a sudden, you realize things are no longer like before. As you attempt to bring correction to that person, one of the things wisdom demands is that attempt to do a background search. Do a homework. What could be happening? Why is this person changing? What has gone wrong? What did this person get wrong? It could be that this person is going through a trauma of some kind. It could be that this person lost someone, lost a relative. It could be that this man who was your best employee is being frustrated by the wife at home. Maybe the wife is giving him a hard time and that's why all has changed. It could be that this person is having some financial issues that are killing the person. Try to do a background search. Most of the times, as a counselor, as a person who's coming to advise and correct, if you have a few background ideas of what this person's struggles are, most likely your correction and your approach is going to make more sense to that person, because the person will realize you are approaching the matter from a place of knowledge. And you are somehow prepared to be able to bring a body of knowledge that corresponds with the challenge he or she is going through. So do not say you're too busy and you only have time to correct, but you don't have time to do a background search. Sometimes people change and you wonder what happened. When you dig around, you realize there's actually a reason. You had this great church member who was doing well. As I said, a great work colleague. You have this expert person who is just a blessing to the land. All of a sudden, the person goes silent, and you're wondering what could be going on. A proper and healthy background search could probably tell you something is very wrong. So let me review them a little bit as we continue. What should we do to be able to administer effective correction to those who are missing the mark, so that we don't let the correction hit a rock, but it penetrates and we win them back to the right space and place? I said, number one, make sure you build a relationship. Don't force a correction without a relationship. It is more powerful to attempt to correct. There are people today I could correct. I'm telling you, I don't correct them. You know why? I still don't have sufficient relationship to bring correction. So what do? There are people in my life right now, for the last 2 years, I am still building a relationship. Why? Because I am attempting to reach something in their life. And the level of relationship is still too small to sponsor the strength of what I am supposed to address. So number one, build a relationship that can bring a support system to that. Number two, make sure your intentions of correction are right. Don't let the person you are attempting to correct discern that your interest is different. If the person discerns your interest is different, the person will close up. Number three, attempt to do what you're doing in privacy and confidentiality. If it has to remain between the two of you, let it remain between the two of you. If it has to remain within a certain circle, don't blow it on Facebook. Don't take it somewhere. That will make the person to trust you. And the person will eventually come to you again and again. Number 4, make sure that you do a background search. And don't approach that issue recklessly. The issue could have been caused by something that is heavy and that may require wisdom. And if you just come with a desire of correction without the wisdom of discerning what caused that, most likely that correction is not going to work. Point number 5, while trying to correct, also create room to listen. Today my points are a bit many, but I hope they will not bore you. While attempting to correct, also create time to listen. No matter how bad a person has fallen in life, that person has something to say. Yes, you have the advice, you have the correction, but don't let it be a one-sided speech. Give room also to hear. We read sometime earlier, James 1:19, that be quick to listen, be slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Try to also give yourself room to listen. Find out what happened. What is going on? Actually, your advice will sink best based on what you hear from the person. Sometimes we come in the name of correcting and we want to correct. And we talk, and expect the person to hear. And we do not know what is actually closed and buried inside. Sometimes it's okay. I was somewhere with someone who was going through something, and we scheduled it to meet. Do you know the first time we met, we sat for 3 hours. I never said a word. 3 hours, the person was talking. I allowed this person to talk for 3 hours. I was just, yes, Those are the things I was doing. I was not even sure if I had everything in those 3 hours. But at least I gave a listening ear for 3 hours. Then when he was done and he had exhausted everything, it was now time for me to speak. I'm telling you, everything I spoke was entering. Everything was entering. In fact, before long, tears were already in his eyes. So when we are attempting to correct people and fix things in people's lives, if you find yourself in a place where you are the one talking like a generator, and the person has no word to say, most likely that correction may not work. Give it a both-sided stream, and you will be able to find something. Number 6, create structures for referral where necessary. Create structures for referral where necessary. While attempting to talk to people and attempting to fix issues in people's lives and attempting to bring wisdom and counsel, sometimes you are going to be insufficient to solve the issues. Some of the issues are likely to be beyond you. For example, let's say a husband and wife are having a problem and the matter reaches you. And you have tried to sit and talk to them. There might be a stream, there might be a faculty of that problem that may require the elders. You may need to pass a referral to the elders where necessary. You may need to pass a referral to a best man and matron where necessary. If you have problems in business with your staff, sometimes you may need to pass a referral to the HR, Human Resource Management. You may need to pass a referral to another person in the structures of your system of work. Somebody somewhere may have to get involved. Not anyhow, not in a mess, kind of confused state, but there must be someone according to the systems of the provision that can be able to handle that. In Matthew 18, I love to read scriptures that are relevant. Matthew 18, we read this verse earlier, but we are going to begin from verse 16 this time. Maybe, for the sake of understanding it well, we can still begin from verse 15 where we read earlier. But this time, we are going to begin from our explanation will begin from verse 16. Let me begin the reading from verse 15 once again. If your brother sins against you, go and show him his fault. Just between the two of you, if he listens to you, you have won your brother over. That was verse 15. But now, the point of referral comes from verse 16 and 17. This is what it says. But if he will not listen, take one or two others along, so that every matter may be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. And if he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen even to the church, treat him as you will treat a pagan or a tax collector. This verse is telling us something interesting. If someone is supposed to sit under the administration of wisdom and correction, you have tried, you came one-on-one and attempted to fix things, it didn't work. Get 2 or 3 people involved. That's another level of referral. And try to see through that matter. If it doesn't work, try to bring another level of counsel. Try to refer now. Go to cadres of administration that are relevant to that situation and give a worthwhile. You think the doctors are foolish to give referral. They are not. They know their levels. I can't handle this. Another doctor could handle this. Another doctor could fix that part. So referrals should not only be familiar in the medical circles, they should even be familiar while attempting to administer wisdom and guidance and correction. Sometimes if you can't handle it, come to a place where you know for sure I can't. Refer that matter to a place where another wisdom is waiting to handle it correctly. That is point number 6. Point number 7, have integrity over the area you are addressing. Matthew 7 from 3 to 5 brings us something like you are attempting to remove the log out of somebody's eye when you yourself has the same log. Now what is this point saying? The point here is that while attempting to correct things or matters in people's lives, make sure that you are above the standard of that same problem. For example, if somebody is struggling with the spirit of lies, always lying everywhere, speaking lies everywhere, and you are attempting to correct that, and you are more senior in lying than that person, what are you going to do to that person? Somebody is fighting with a spirit of wanting to fight with anybody. Whoever comes across this person, he wants to fight. And you are known to be the boxer of the village. You love to fight with anybody. And you are coming, you want to correct this person who loves fighting. It's not going to work. Build a standard that is above that person's challenge. And that way your words will carry wisdom, and they will be able to fall heavy on the soul of this person. Someone is struggling and battling with alcohol. The person was once in church, loved God and doing well in things of God. All of a sudden you hear the guy has gone back into alcoholism. And you realize you yourself too, you're part of that. Dr. Tony Evans once said, you can't solve a problem at the same level where it is created. Now, if the person's problem is alcohol, and you also drink like him, you may not have the capacity and the weight to come to him and tell him, sir, leave alcohol, it's going to destroy you. So make sure you rise above that person, and what you're able to speak will bring life and light. I am going to go through over the remaining points quickly, and then I summarize. Point number 8, by the way, I actually have 10 points, there are many, but I will make sure I explain each one of them accurately within our time. Point number 8, make sure as you bring advice and correction to this person, give room for time. Certain things heal with the time. Certain things work with the time. Ecclesiastes 3 says, there is time for everything. It took that person time to fall into that trap. It is not going to take that person 30 minutes to come out of that trap. It took that person time to be locked into that error. It may not take that person 1 minute just to jump out of it just like that. It's going to sometimes take procedures and protocols and structures to be able to deal with that battle. Yes, you have brought the advice. Yes, you have released the word of counsel. Yes, you have released advice. Create some room. And if the person is not responding the next minute, not the next day, Don't be on a rush to say, okay, I brought advice, you do not want to listen. Maybe that person is really still struggling with the weight of that issue. It might take the person a week or 2 weeks or 1 month to really come to alignment. There's a moment where that time is necessary. In fact, the best way of understanding these things is when you also apply it in your own life. Don't we all have struggles that sometimes need time to recover from? Don't we all have issues that sometimes you have gone through and you just discover it is not easy? You wish to deal with it, you wish to deal with it in 1 day, but you realize you really need time. You wish to deal with it in a week, but you realize you need a space of time to be able to handle it. So when the person you're bringing advice tells you, thank you, madam, thank you, mommy, thank you, daddy, thank you, my friend, thank you, boss, for this advice, but as I appreciate it, give me some time as I work myself out. Keep monitoring me, keep checking on me, study the progress, but please allow me time. Don't say the person has refused. Sometimes that's the only way out. Then in number 9, the second last point, where necessary, administer discipline. This is a tough, but it cannot miss in this. Let's say you have this staff member who is just vandalizing your business and you're losing money. The other day you lost 500,000. The other day you lost 1 million. Another time you have lost 5 million. And now here there is a level where correction has to come in. There could be a place where the error is going out of hand. Discipline has to get you. The Bible says God corrects those whom he loves. As long as the correction is coming from the intention of fixing things, that correction sometimes is necessary. There are people who can take error and make it a routine until they meet correction. Because they will do the same thing and they walk away free. Do it again, walk away free. Do it again, walk away free. Do it again. And when now they come to a place and realize that I will always do anything I want to do and nobody will correct me, nobody will. Sometimes as a boss, you may have to give that person a retrenchment. Sometimes you may have to lay him off for some time. Sometimes you may have to bring this. I don't know what kind of discipline will be relevant in that situation. But there are moments when discipline will have to become part of that correction. If you will talk words without discipline, there are levels where it will not work. But even if you choose the way of discipline, it must come in love. It must come in the burden and conviction that you are attempting to bring effective correction. So that at the end of it all, this person is a better person than before. Finally, my last point before I will review all of it together is while attempting to bring effective, really effective correction, that at the end we don't lose the person. At the end we don't destroy the person. At the end we don't become enemies. And we are able to still have each other for life. One of the things we have to do to administer correction effectively, the last point is pray for the person you are attempting to correct. It is God who changes the heart of a man. It is God who changes the heart of a person. You may do your very best. You can talk with tears. You can sweat. You can do correction. You can take this person to jail. You can take this person to the maximum prison ever. You can bring everything. You can advise. You can be patient with the time. You can create structures of referral. You can listen. You can do everything. If God does not intervene in that matter, all of that can be a waste. All of that may not work. There are people whose hearts can only be reached by God. So one of your strategies must be prayer. The Bible says in Philippians 4:6, the last verse I should read, Philippians chapter 4 verse 6, I read the New Living Translation version. This is what it says. Don't worry about anything, instead pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Don't worry about anything, but pray about everything. Many of us, as I said earlier, are all struggling with someone around us we are attempting to fix. It could be a brother who's not walking right. It could be a workmate. It could be a church member. It could be a sister. It could be your wife. It could be your husband. It could be a neighbor. It could be, and sometimes you're just tired. And you're wondering, when will things ever get right? And you have attempted many of the things, none of them have worked. The last one I want to emphasize is, always make sure that you go on your knees. It's God who changes people. When God gets involved in, when the power of Jesus Christ comes in, the worst person can become the best person. The worst staff can all of a sudden become the best. The worst relative can become the greatest pillar you ever have in that family. The person you thought was the greatest enemy of your life could become the greatest pillar and the savior of your life, because you invested in prayer and God used your prayers to reach this person's heart. And if it is a prayer working, you will see it working. You will see a genuine change. You will see a change which you know is not man-made. There is a change you can see in people's life. You will know this one is not man-made. This one now, something higher has taken place. You see a person changing so completely to a point that you will just know God got involved. Let God get involved. Let Jesus Christ get involved. Let the Holy Spirit get involved. And that can happen through prayer. So, I round up by making sure I review my points. One last time, I love to do that. It's helpful for me. And it can be helpful for you too. God has called us to bring help to one another as we live, as we attempt to live life. Sometimes people are not going to do things the way we want. Whether in church, in the family, in the neighborhood, in the area, in the ministry, everywhere. A lot of times things may not go as we want. What does that call for? It calls for correction. But how should we deliver the correction? How can we offer correction that doesn't stumble back, but goes through and achieves things? We have learned the following in today's lesson. Number one, while attempting to bring correction, make sure there's a living relationship between you and that person. Don't stumble on the person without a relationship. Relationship will bring effectiveness to your effort of correction. Number two, make sure your intentions of correction are right. When your person you're attempting to correct notices that, the person is going to loosen all the walls of protection. The moment the person realizes your coming is more of an attack than coming to help, the person will build a wall fence you will never penetrate. And you will end up saying the person rejected correction, but the reality is the person discerned an attack, not correction. Number three, make sure you apply privacy and confidentiality. If it is possible, what is between the two of you, let it remain between the two of you. Don't take it to another neighbor, don't take it to another person. If it is between staff A and staff B, keep it there. Don't take it to other people, because the more you spread it, the more you worsen the issue. Number four, do a background check. Try to find out. There's always a reason as to why things happen in people's lives. Somebody does not struggle from nowhere. By the time the person begins struggling, there is a cause. Do a thorough research, and your research is most likely to lead you to a great access gate into finding out what is wrong. And with that research in your hand as a rightful tool, you will access your friend or your neighbor or your colleague, and your correction will enter rightly. Number five, always give room to listen. Don't be the one to talk. That person also has something to say. In fact, out of that person's words, you will find signals to navigate your correction. Number six, develop structures of referral. It is most likely that you may not have the solution to everything. You may fail along the way. And where you stop, there is somebody somewhere who can pick up from there. And don't refer anyhow, refer wisely. And as you refer wisely, that person will find the rightful help. Number seven, have integrity over the area you are addressing. If the person is struggling with alcohol, Don't be a person who is also struggling with alcohol. Your advice will go nowhere. If the person is struggling with a certain issue that has, maybe the person is struggling with anger, the person all of a sudden has become an angry person, and you're 10 times more angry than this person, and you try to bring advice. Don't be an angry. No. That advice will not hold water. Make sure that you build credibility. And then, number 8, give the person time. As you advise, give time. Don't say, I've given advice now, and now change everything. Certain issues take time. And the person took time to get locked into that struggle. Probably he or she may need time to come out of it. And where necessary, give him or her that space of time. Number 9, where necessary, let discipline get involved. Certain things, words are not enough. Some tiboko or something may have to get involved. For children, you may not give tiboko to an adult. You may not cane an adult. But other worthwhile, relevant aspects of discipline may be helpful. Finally, prayer. Please offer prayer for that person. Pray for your neighbor, pray for your friend, pray for your wife. Yes, your wife is making life hard for you. Your husband is making life hard for you. Something is not, but have you ever prayed for him? Have you ever prayed for her? Have you ever prayed for that workmate who is making life hard for you? Have you ever prayed for that friend in school who is making your studies hard? And as we put all of these things together, somehow by God's grace, we can be able to bring effective correction. I close by saying, we have a responsibility to bring a body of correction to anyone who may be stumbling in life. But it shouldn't be done anyhow. There are precautions to take, there are wisdoms to apply, and they are the wisdoms we just talked about today. And if we apply them correctly, chances are very, very high that we will open the gates of the people who are stumbling and struggling, and we will reach their innermost being and bring a successful correction, which will restore them instead of destroying them. God bless you. I hope this has blessed you. We are here every Mondays and Thursdays, and don't miss a single episode of this. And I believe this has blessed you. Notify another person and subscribe in case you haven't. Please subscribe to Lighter TV so that you will not miss a single thing. God bless you. See you again next time.